Hello, today I'm going to be testing and showing car USB power adapters. I will compare the power adapters to figure out which has the best features and if there's any issues. The adapters will be compared to find out which is best at converting power from your car's battery to something you can use to charge your phone. The power metrics are much more simple than an AC power adapter, so a little less technical and a lot more adapters. Join me as I explore some of the options. This video is a little different than my usual USB power adapter videos. If you'd like to see more, there's a playlist of the various power adapters where I compare them for power in as well as out and the efficiency to see which ones are the best performers. Check out in the links in the description and on screen. Okay, USB car power adapters. What do I need to look at to get an idea of the performance of this device? Well, 1. What can it do? What kind of output modes does it support? Can it do power delivery or PD 3.0? PD 3.0 is a USB specification which defines voltage, current, and power levels that a device can switch into that aren't the typical 5-volt USB socket. PPS, or Programmable Power Supply, is another part of the USB specification where the voltage can vary between a range of different voltages. The purpose for this is to aid in charging your phone or other device more efficiently. For the USB-A ports, there's the Quick Charge or QC modes. This is an older protocol, but it has the same basic function. This will increase the voltage to help charge at a higher power rate. So after establishing the voltage, current, and power output capabilities, the next thing to check is the overload condition, to make sure the power adapters quickly and safely shut down in this condition. When working with low voltage DC, there are still specific safety standards associated with these devices, so some of them may have safety marks like UL, TUV, SGS, ETL, etc. I'm not sure how valuable a mark like that is on these devices, but it does show that the manufacturer went through some third-party verification. The next thing to check is the voltage input requirement. Some of these devices may have the ability to output 20 volts, but if we only have a 13.8 volt DC input, the typical DC car battery level, the device has to do some work to increase the voltage to the higher level. This is typically called boosting the voltage or a boost mode converter. This is a whole other rabbit hole, and I won't get into it in this video fully, but the essentials we need to know is that the voltage can be increased to supply the 15 or 20 volt output modes from a 13.8 volt DC power supply. Okay, last thing, I promise, and probably the most important performance metric. How efficient is the power adapter at converting power? So this is the comparison of the power in to the power out, presented as a percentage. 100% is perfect. None will make that mark. But for simple converters, a 95% efficiency is definitely possible. Note that with less steps in the converter processes, these are often more efficient than typical AC power adapters. There's also no transformer. The subtraction of the P out minus the P in provides you with the amount of heat the device is generating when in operation. This, combined with ambient temperature, the surface of the device, and the material it's made of, will let you calculate the expected surface temperature rise due to the heat generated in that conversion process. I don't know the terms for most of these, so I'm just going to present the heat generated in watts, the power lost. Okay, quick recap. We will be measuring the modes of operation, PD 3.0, PPS, and QC, the voltage level the device operates at, if it has a boost or not, the power in and out to determine efficiency, and the power lost in each device. This is going to be a lot of work. Time to get started. The first device in today's roundup is this Ravpower Rpvc06. This device has 2 USB-A ports, up to 12 watts each, and supports 5 volt output only. The next device is this Griffen GT, lots of other letters. This device has 2 USB-A ports, and only supports 5 watts out total and 5 volts only. This is also the oldest device. The next device is an AINOPE AV843. This device has a USB-A and a USB-C port. The USB-A port supports QC3 with 5, 9, and 12 volts up to 18 watts. The USB-A port has PD3 and supports 5, 9, and 12 volts and also up to 18 watts. The next device is this Gubitor. This device supports a lot of modes and has 50 total watts. The device does not have a boost circuit, so the higher voltage modes are not available unless you have a 24 volt DC input. This is the only device in the whole roundup that supports a PPS mode with 11 volts out. The fifth device is this INIU CI711. This device has a USB-A and a USB-C port, and they both support 5, 9, and 12 volts. The USB-A port has QC3, the C has PD 3.0, and it does 66 total watts. That's a lot of power. Okay, halfway through, let's keep going. As usual, links will be in the description for devices you can buy. The Baseus CCZX100 is next. This one is a 100-watt power adapter in a car setup. It does have a voltage boosting setting, and although the user manual says it doesn't, but it only supports the 100-watt output mode when it's powered with 24 volts. It did work with 20 volts at 50 watts with a 12-volt nominal input. Both USB-A and C ports support operation at 5, 9, 12, 15, and 20 volts with QC and PD 3.0 modes. The next device is a Eugreen Cd130. This device has a USB-A and C port and does 5, 9, and 12 volts on each port with PD 3.0 and QC 24 total watts output. The next device is the Spigen Pc2000. This device is a dual USB-C device with a 45 watt and a 20 watt rated port. Both support PD 3.0, but one supports more modes of operation. This device does have a voltage boost supply, so it can output 20 volts with a 12 volt nominal in 65 total watts. The next device is the Anker A2229. This is the most expensive in the roundup and also the only one with a UL, US and Canada, safety listing. I'm not sure why. This device also has a boost supply. It has two ports with one supporting up to 20 volts and the other one supporting the 5, 9, and 12 volts with the QC 3.0. The last device is an Tech Sn502. This device is a 40 watt total device with a USB-A and C port with 5, 9, and 12 volt modes. This is the least expensive device in the lot. Okay, time to compare all this data. First, let's look at the capabilities of each of these devices. The more check marks, the more things these can do. It looks like the Jupiter car charger tops the stack with the most output modes. Some are more basic USB 5 volt only devices. Still perfectly fine for charging your phone, but not going to do much in terms of charging a laptop. The voltage input for each of these devices as rated is shown below. The output voltage, however, over this range did vary. The devices that had the ability to boost the voltage are shown as well as the ones that didn't. Next, let's take a look at how each device shuts down in an overload condition. Here are the overload ratings for each one of these devices. The Griffen was the most conservative and the Baseus let things run a little wild. In general, the devices are safe enough to use with USB devices though. Next, let's look at how much power they wasted. Here is a quick graph of the power waste from each device under a full load. It looks like the INEO will put out the most heat, but that doesn't mean it's the least efficient. Efficiency is the next one to look at, and this is a big one. The more efficient the power adapter, the better it is at converting your car's battery energy into energy stored in your phone. The winner in this category is the Baseus charger. The next on the list is the Spigen. As you can see, the numbers don't really look bad for any of these devices, except for the smaller, older 5 volt only devices. There is a trend to higher efficiency in larger devices though. Lastly, let's look at cost per watt. The value of these adapters changes things around a bit. The Tech becomes the best value adapter and the Anker looks a bit overpriced. The Baseus represents a class leader in terms of price and features. Just for completion, here's a quick rundown of the weights of each of these USB car power adapters. Okay, one more data point, idle power consumption. So if you leave this device plugged in and the car power port stays on, here is how much power they will use. The Baseus uses the most. The Anker and Eugreen stand out as only sipping a tiny amount of power. So here they are, car power adapters. I'll put a link on my webpage and in the description below to all the data so you can have a play around. Maybe in a few days. Thanks for watching. Check out the links down below. The normal power adapter videos will resume next week. There have been a few requests, so lots more on the way. Until next week, goodbye.